Hey, we're live. So here's what happened. I hit the go. So there's two buttons. You have to hit go live once, and then you have to hit it a second time to actually activate it. So
Sorry, Steve.
we're pretending this is the beginning of the show.
This the War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric.
That
And the
is
voice
so
of
funny.
NEW, Vince Berry.
That is
Hitting all the topics
officially
like
the
clothes
funniest shit
line
to ever
flurry.
happen in the
Turn
beginning
up
of the
your
show
speakers and
ever.
hear 'em out. You can listen
This
from
is
your
great.
car, even on your couch. Thanks to all who
We should just go viral for
handing
this
out
shit.
Smackdown style on IG Plus. It's sponsored by Taggy and
this is
Date.
great.
Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here.
So,
No safe
we were
space.
saying,
Now listen
Prince
in.
Nana.
Time to hear from some of the greats.
It's all right, baby. We get to do it again.
Oh, another new graphic. Check out the new graphics.
And we get to do it again. It's all good.
Hangman looking tough there. I like him.
That was the first time we did that tonight. Would you believe that's only the first time we did that tonight? We didn't actually do that twice and then just do 5 minutes of a show to nobody because we didn't hit live.
You go 45 minutes before you realize it.
Vince,
Yeah.
just to let you know, I'm not even on camera, and I look guilty when you hit the live button.
Oh, dude, it was because here's what happens. For those of you who don't know, if you don't use StreamYard, in the corner it says go live. So you hit that, and then it gives you another button that's like, are you sure you want to go live? So I hit go live once because it was 9 o'clock, and then I started with the music, and then we did the swerve dance, and then we started talking about Prince Nana for a good 5 minutes, and then I looked up in the corner and I didn't see the live ticker, the button. And then I realized I only hit the button once and I didn't hit the are you really, really sure you want to go live? Now you have to hit the button twice button. We're here now.
We made it.
This is what happens when Steve's not here. When Steve's not here, chaos reigns.
Most importantly,
Prince Nana dance. We can't really argue.
I'm okay doing more Prince Nana dances.
I
Absolutely.
mean,
most importantly, before we continue, I survived the flood of Jersey yesterday because I was dead in the middle of it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it took me 3.5 hours to get home, and it was a 30-minute drive.
Oh, my God. See, I thought you were going to say, before we get started, fuck Goldberg.
No, you took it away from me, goddammit. Thank you for saying it.
I'm with you, Al. I ended up with 3.5 inches in my basement this morning. So.
Oh, yeah? You and your husband got together?
You live in Jersey?
Oh!
Oh,
been-
great.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that speech is.
Steve's going to be so pissed we start late and then we just tell dick jokes.
You did that on purpose.
Steve's
because it
going to
was
cut
my
off the
fucking
first 4 minutes of the show. You kidding me?
You did that on purpose because it was my fucking anniversary.
Oh, yes, that's right. Happy anniversary. Kat and Justin. The only Jarretts. The only
Here.
Jarretts who are not in professional wrestling. Although,
Yes.
you know, in 2025, would I rather see Jeff Jarrett or Kat Jarrett wrestle? I'd probably rather watch Kat at this point. No knock on Jeff, but
And
There's
also,
double T's in our name.
that's true.
also
You don't spell the same.
Kat's mother-in-law is Karen Jarrett. We actually like.
There we
Yes,
go.
that's true. My mother-in-law's name is Karen Jarrett, and she was that long before Karen Angle was.
Yeah. Karen Jarrett's been through a couple last names now, but maybe we won't get into that.
Yeah, we'll really get fired if we go into that.
Oh my God,
Honestly, I met her and she with Jeff.
She's great.
She was great.
she's very
Hey,
nice.
Steve, for the record, I don't know Karen Jarrett, so I had nothing to do with these issues. If anything happens that you decide to release some people, I have no idea what they're talking about. I just want to talk. I just want to talk about wrestling, dog. No,
Bro, you're gonna have to learn. You're gonna have to learn how to use StreamYard because if he gets rid of me, it's up to you now.
Oh no. Yeah.
Can we just celebrate that we can actually see the AEW World Heavyweight Championship now again? Finally,
Yes, that's so.
Jesus
There is,
Christ, that fucking storyline sucked.
but
sorry.
that was the that
Death
was the
Riders
whole.
sucked.
That was the whole point, though. So we'll get into. There's a lot to talk about. WWE had 3 shows on Saturday. NXT, Evolution, the women's PLE, and then Saturday night's main event with Goldberg's retirement match against Gunther. And then AEW had 8 hours, a literal work shift of wrestling, starting with Big Boom, AJ, and the Rizzler, the future world champion, the Rizzler. Mark it down. This is my prediction. The Rizzler is going to grow up to be a world champion, and then ending with, as you said, the briefcase is open after a grueling, like I can't put into words what that match did as like an emotional thing. Like it's hard. It's so weird for people to say that, you get emotional over wrestling, but that was like, it was an hour long. It was like a movie. It was like that portion of The Passion of the Christ where he just got his ass whooped for an hour by Pilate. It was that part of the movie, except without the weird little devil baby.
For
What
like
was
10
that
months,
about?
or
Yes.
however long it was.
It was 9 months, and to keep consistent with the storyline, when the title came out of the briefcase, it didn't even have John Moxley side plates. It still had Bryan Danielson side plates from when Moxley won it back in like October.
Wow.
So we
That
got a lot
actually
to.
makes it even better considering Brian's appearance.
I love it. Oh, I gotta go into the comment. I gotta flip over my tabs because I was overplaying the music, and then you have to flip to the comments tab. Who's in there today? Oh boy, we got a bunch. Oh
Yeah,
let's
I saw
see
some.
oh wow, we got to start off with. Oh
Usual
yeah,
suspects.
you know what, David, we will save this comment for later. But Trish should have won. We'll get into that. Goldberg should have won. We'll get into that.
Fuck over.
Elma, yeah. It's a fire song. Yes, you see him. Yeah, the Swerve song. Hey Tara. So happy Roman's back. I mean, geez, Monday Night Raw happened. The W No makes an appearance. Here, bookends.
It was a huge weekend in wrestling.
It was. Happy anniversary, Kat and Justin. Thank you,
Yes.
Tara. I feel like John Cena's a paper champ. If Roman Reigns can take back, man, I don't know. I wonder if they're going to set up. It seems like he's going after Seth, but Seth is injured, and we'll get into all that.
Well, I guess it's Breaker now. It's going to be, we'll get into it.
Right. He acknowledges the original tribal chief. And who's the Rizzler? All right. So the Rizzler is not a wrestler, but the Rizzler is like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid. Maybe he's 13 at this point. I don't really know. But he's 12. So Big Boom AJ is the big muscly guy. He was an independent wrestler. Then he stopped. He had kids. Him and his son AJ started doing this thing, the Costco guys on TikTok. So they review Costco food, the chocolate chunk cookie and the chicken bake and all this other. And they made a song about it and all this goofy shit. And they rate everything on 1 to 5 booms or a doom if it's bad. So booms are good and dooms are bad. And then the Rizzler's like this other kid. He's literally supposed to just be like, the joke is that he's like a chubby little weird looking kid, but he has like some sort of charm, and he does this and then like the ladies love him. And then he joined in with these guys, and they like made a little rap song that sounds like the DK rap from Donkey Kong 64.
That is scarily accurate.
It's the same song. Like if you listen to that, and it's also
I didn't even put the two of them together until you just said that. That is so accurate.
like tricky. Tricky. It's that kind of. It's 80s rap, and like the mom raps, the dad raps. It's all very cringy, but I'll be good goddamn if that kid's not. I love just watching that little kid make faces. Like I can't describe why he's interesting. Right? He just does the thing. That's all he does. And this time he wore a cowboy hat because they were in Texas.
Yep. That's all Alex does is he walks around and does that kid's faces. He walks around and mimics him all day. That's why when you posted that, I was dying.
Dude, they were doing meet and greets for All In, and the wrestlers were doing meet and greets, but then there was a separate line for the fucking Rizzler and these TikTok people. And you know what? I get it. It's weird. It's, it's cringy. It's not exactly what you would do if you had your own kids, but they're having fun. The guy's he's a wrestler. He gets it. Like they all get it, and they're helping. Like people who wouldn't necessarily watch AEW might watch. Hey, why is Big Boom AJ wrestling? And then go from there. So it's all good. It's all marketing.
But they donate half of the money they make too. That's the other really cool thing.
Oh yeah, they seem like nice folks.
Like they donated a shit ton of money to Texas over the weekend.
Oh wow, because of that flood. Yeah.
They see a charitable cause. They use their platform for the right reasons. It's not
that's
like
good.
It's not like a Logan Paul thing or whatever. Like, sometimes it's just nothing except for content. They actually donate money from a lot of their causes and stuff. He's trying to teach his kids the value of the money that they're making.
Well, that's good. I'm glad it's, because
more. You know what I mean?
Because there's an exploitative route you can go with this social media stuff when it comes to kids, and it's like those unboxing channels where it's like a kid looks like they're being held at gunpoint and opening a new toy, so the parent can be like, "We need to get famous," and they're recording it, and it's like, "All right, bud, what are we doing?" So, what do we want to start with? Do we want to start with All In? Do we want to start with? Right, yeah.
That's so funny. Where do you want to start? We're 10 minutes into the show.
I'm just saying, the show
you can tell
wise,
where this is going.
I can take 15 minutes if you want to be really active.
But we will listen. We will tack that extra 5 minutes on at the end. Chalk it up to user error. Listen, I hit go live, and then you have to hit it twice. I forgot you have to hit it twice. I only have to do this once every 6 months when Steve fucks off on a cruise or something. Fucking every time he goes away, like this was like almost a preemptive strike because Seth Rollins fucked his knee up on Saturday, and then Steve goes to the beach on Monday. So I think he's just got to stay away from the water.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Seriously. I can put the comments.
Oh, so the curse lives on.
Yeah, I feel like the curse lives on. We still haven't gotten to that point where he's actually going on the cruise during SummerSlam weekend. So I just fully expect like a fucking meteor to strike or something. Like, who knows?
Stop. I'm there. Stop.
That's right. No, nothing bad's gonna happen there.
Well, first of all, meteor strikes. We're all fucked.
Real, is he?
But yeah, which event should we start with? Should we start with one of the WWE ones, or should we go right to All In?
Let's get the WWE stuff out of the way because All In could be another good half hour, 45-minute topic. So, I mean, we can cover all of basically the WWE in this first half and let the second half go to AEW.
That's a good idea.
All right, cool. I'm not going to stop doing the fucking thing every time I see this little shit pop up behind me. I love it. I fucking love it. AI is dangerous, folks. That was a regular picture of the Rizzler. He was in a park and he wasn't wearing a championship belt, and then AI turned it into that. So thank you, our computer overlords. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so did anybody watch NXT? I actually didn't watch the NXT event, Great American Bash.
I did. Well, Alex made me watch it. I told you we had AEW and the Great American Bash going on at the same time. I had two
my God
wrestling shows going on in my living room simultaneously.
Yeah, that's ultimate like ADD. So what was your overall takeaway from that show?
I mean, it was very predictable as usual. I mean, if I had to go on a scale of 1 to 10, because NXT is normally consistent with a 7, 8, so I would give it back to that. Oh my God, what the hell are they called? The dark whatever. That dark trio or whatever, like, the Shield 2.3.0.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. Alex knows the names better than that or whatever. I mean, they got involved in the whole Joe Hendry thing again between him and Chick Williams, and they set up for Slam and everything. So that's going to be really interesting and everything like that. Trying to think if anything else really happened, because then they really just were focusing on the part about like, Jordan Grace's match for Women's Evolution and everything like that. So out of all the shows, it was probably the least entertaining shows out of the entire weekend. Which is sad to say because NXT normally does deliver, but
right. And I feel like that was kind of they programmed so much stuff this weekend that it was something was going to get lost in the sauce there. And the NXT show seems to be that one, the quality wise. But I'll tell you what, on the flip side of that, with the lack of promotion that the Evolution event got, they did as we talked about last week. they ended up doing the matches themselves were good, but like, could they have just done it a little, like given us a little bit more for like the build up to that? It just seems so thoughtless.
I tell you what, though, for the lackluster build up that show had, I agree with you 1,000,000%. That has to go down as probably one of my favorite PLEs for the year that WWE has put out.
Yeah, it's going to be another one of those situations where WWE didn't feel the need to put on one of these Evolution pay-per-views for like 5-6 years because after Ronda left, they didn't feel that their star power was big enough. And I feel like that was wrong because there was still Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, Mercedes was still there. Naomi was there, maybe not exactly who she was now, but like Nia.
You definitely had enough. You had
a whole roster. You had make it. And you had continuing from that point in the late 2010s, you had all the women's tag and singles championships. So you could have a whole pay-per-view where those titles were being defended and make a big deal out of it, annually right around this time. Cause there's a little bit of time between like Money in the Bank and SummerSlam. You put it in there. But now I think they're going to have to make another one, right? The next year, they're going to have to do this again and maybe keep it at Mohegan Sun Arena that fits 10,000 people. Well, 8,000 if you take away for the stage. But you know what I mean? Like put it in a real place that has a chance instead of just sticking it on like AEW's WrestleMania weekend. It was just not a good idea.
Well, fortunately, I don't think that Evolution interfered with AEW, with the way that AEW. So that was a good enough split. I think everything they did on Saturday is what interfered with tried to interfere with AEW when there was no way that the Great American Bash and even the Saturday night's main event was not going to compete with half of the stuff that AEW put together on Saturday.
No.
I mean, that show ended literally just as Saturday night's main event was starting.
Okay, yeah, so that's pretty
right?
good.
Because that ended because All In ended at what, like 8:15, 8:30?
Yeah.
So that was 30 minutes all the way into Saturday night's main event. So
Okay.
if you were watching AEW, you weren't turning off that main event
No.
to go to watch Goldberg take on Gunther.
No, and we'll get
especially
into,
with all that happened in that main event.
and all the stuff that didn't.
If you, especially like I know we have our ways of watching it, but if you paid your $49.99 to Bleacher or you paid your Fight or whatever to watch that show, you weren't switching over to the free NBC.
And it was worth, if you paid $50, which is a lot for a pay-per-view in 2025, you got your money's worth and more for that show.
Yeah, and it still cost you less than what you would have done to get 2 nights of WrestleMania.
That's true. If you were ordering them individually, that's definitely cheaper. It was so. We'll just talk now since we didn't really watch NXT. You gave us the review there. We'll get into Saturday night's main event real quick, and like you said, All In will probably be the big discussion. So right away, the headline from this is Seth Rollins, LA Knight. Seth does one spot and kind of lands funny, and then does another one, and then basically sits on his ass like Mr. McMahon did that time that he tore his quads. And then stood up and took a fucking DDT or a gravy train or whatever LA Knight does. And loses. Like it was literally like one of those, this is happening so fast, we're just going to pin him and move on. Like it seemed that
was Seth's call.
But
like,
what
go home.
He was scheduled to win, for what I heard.
Right, but Seth was the one that called the audible and said,
Right, let's go home.
I thought he would have lost regardless, just because he could he can stand a loss, and LA Knight could really use a win. So that's why I was kind of thinking, especially because, as happened with the women's pay-per-view, you have to lose. It's like a tradition to lose the match you wrestle and then cash in successfully later, so that whoever beat you earlier in the pay-per-view has like a claim to be the number one contender.
Yeah, and there's been plenty of Money in the Bank winners that have jobbed out like for months and months and months before they cash in.
Oh, absolutely. So I was thinking in my mind,
Swagger,
like, oh, Jesus,
who took fucking forever to get the damn briefcase.
Gosh, yeah, some of those middle briefcases were a mistake, but the point being, I thought LA Knight was going to win so that Seth Rollins would cash in during the main event or after the main event. And, kind of as we were talking about last week, that didn't happen. Seth Rollins is injured. We had a cash in on the women's show that went very similarly to how I thought the men's cash in was going to go. So I just thought that was all very interesting. How
I have
plans
a question.
might change. Yeah.
Don't you think that the reason Gunther did win is because Rollins got hurt and then there was no way to take the belt off Goldberg?
And it also would explain why that match went an extra 5 or 10 minutes. Because like that match was 14:45 or something like that, almost 15 minutes long. And it was Goldberg's longest match in 22 or 23 years.
Right. So it seems like he could have squashed them and then Rollins comes out and
right. It seemed like one way or another, either Goldberg gets squashed pretty quickly or Gunther gets squashed pretty quickly. Or, they do the Brock Goldberg WrestleMania match.
And that whole farewell that they did for him and how the cameras went off and how it just
cut off.
It was just so weird.
People have to remember too, that was NBC's call, not so much WWE.
Right. Yeah, there was a whole, there's timing issues and all that. I understand that part, but also like, damn.
Yeah, but because if you still were watching it on Peacock, they didn't play the whole thing even on Peacock. There's no time restrictions on Peacock whatsoever. They could have gone over whatever on Peacock. It ended at the exact same time, and there was no post-conference, so nothing. So we didn't see the whole Goldberg retirement speech until it ended up being leaked on social media like a couple of hours later.
Then they ended up posting it on YouTube as like a make good, which is fine.
On both Peacock and NBC.
Yeah, so I feel like there was definitely an audible called, which affected the timing of some stuff and probably the outcome of the main event match, and then the timing of the speech afterward and all kinds of stuff. So weird kind of stuff. Now, here's the other thing that I heard, and this comes, I was listening to Brian Alvarez earlier, Figure 4 Online Wrestling Observer, and he mentioned that John Pollock from Post Wrestling said that Rollins potentially injured himself earlier in the week leading up to the show, and it's a minor injury, and they played up the bigger injury during this match to set up that, he's going to be gone for like 6 to 9 months, when the reality is it's like 6 to 8 weeks, and he can be back in time for SummerSlam to make a return, cash in, surprise. I don't know, because part of me when watching it,
severe.
Right. So part of me watching it goes, he did one thing and then he did another and then injured it. So did he injure it a little bit on the first attempt and then injure on the big time on the second one? And like, it's legit. Did he?
That's exactly what happened, because if you slow-mo the first moonsault, like when he did the Lion's Den off of, you can see him clearly, his leg goes one way and he's starting to get up the other and he grimaces like, fuck, that hurt. And then he goes into the second move once LA moved out the way. And then that's when he lands on, when he buckled in the landing. He heard it before he went to go do that spring shot off the rope.
That's what I was thinking too. But I was also thinking, if this is a work, then he's done this, he's injured himself before. He knows how it feels and he knows how he did it. So he could kind of simulate that. But you really, if somebody's, when somebody's like knee or elbow or whatever shifts in a way that your elbow or knee is not supposed to bend. So,
but see,
I don't know.
Here's my other point, where if it's like where it could be whatever, we all know what Paul Heyman looks like when he's genuinely concerned or upset or not being in character. He was not in character when that whole thing happened, when he was talking to him in the corner, when he was walking out the ring.
That's true.
He forgot about being the Oracle and was Paul Heyman, like, what the hell just happened? Like how he would be back in the old ECW days when talent got hurt and he came out there.
Right. So yeah, it's all very interesting to, I'm leaning towards, when I watched it initially, I was leaning towards it being legit. even like Dave Abbey in the comments here says Rollins is going to cash in on Punk at SummerSlam, calling it now. So I don't know. I think it's something to just monitor because there's so much speculation.
Well, don't you think Punk wins now then?
Maybe.
Punk gets his moment,
dude. But I just
and it's not early. Rollins ain't coming back in a month, so I figure it makes more sense, and there's more heat for him to take it off Punk in the upcoming future. You know,
it's less of a moment for me because it's still the secondary championship. In my opinion.
It's a weird belt. Yeah, it's such a weird.
But here's the other thing though that I want to take into effect though. We just keep talking about him cashing in the Money in the Bank. Now he has an entire year.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't he just win it like what last month?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has time.
He's got plenty of time.
Storyline thing that it was going to be like, oh, I'm going to do it when you least expect it or whatever. I mean, how long did like Damian Priest take before he cashed in or whatever when he took it from Drew McIntyre? It was
Mania.
An entire year before he really cashed that in. So as much as it is a huge loss because of how big Seth was doing right now with this story, in the Money in the Bank aspect, it's really not a big deal.
Right. It's true. They can sit on it. It just seems
as long as the injury doesn't take him out for longer than the period of the cash in.
Which it should. I mean, that's almost a whole year, even unless his leg fell off.
And these are,
if it's his ACL again, or if it's a pull in
that's 6 to 9 months.
Surgically corrected. With the most we're talking is 6. I mean, it's not a career-ending ACL. I don't think he tore his quad or anything like that in the process. I think it was just purely his knee. And if
and again, these are big time athletes. They're not the normal person,
Yeah, they've got access to doctors and training and yeah.
And they're going to heal, better than
man. I wish I hadn't get my hands on some of those trainers, man. I'd love to walk straight.
Dr. Andrews.
I had knee surgery. I had knee surgery from a guy that worked with Dr. Andrews, and when you went into his office, he had autographs of all the basketball and baseball and sports figures that he did surgery on, and I'm like, all right.
Oh, that's badass.
I'm a fucking out of shape jabroni. He can fix me up real quick. You know what I mean? Like if he can work on these guys, then he's almost overqualified to do my surgery.
I mean, didn't he do Edge's and Lita's?
Yeah.
He did everybody's. He did. Yeah. He was the guy, he was a guy that you didn't just hear on WWE. If a Major League Baseball, if an MLB player or an NFL player got injured, they're going, he's going down to Alabama to see Dr. James Andrews.
He was on all the documentaries and everything.
He's like the foremost brain on surgeries like this, like athletic injuries, muscle tears and ligament tears and all that. He's like the guy. And if you can afford the guy, you get the guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could be a long recovery, but it's not going to be long enough to make him lose out on his cash in. So,
right, they're not going to jump the gun like they did with Kennedy.
Correct.
Right. No, they can be patient with this one if they need to be. It just seemed like the story, if Seth was healthy, was either cashing in at the Goldberg-Gunther match or cashing in at SummerSlam. Both of those made sense.
Right.
Can I be honest? I don't want Gunther to lose again. Like
I know.
I would almost prefer if Seth pulled a heist again and inserted himself in a triple threat match, and it's another heist of the century rather than Gunther losing to Punk. I know people want to see Punk win the title. As somebody who suffered through Punk's title reign in AEW, you don't need it. Trust me. But dude, I just don't know. I hate the way that they built up Gunther for so many years, and now they're like, we're just going to cash this check over and over. And it's like, you don't get it, do you? You need to cash this check of Gunther being vulnerable and losing to somebody very far and few between. It needs to be a shock. It needs to be a surprise. If Gunther just keeps losing to average sized dudes comparatively to him, He's just another guy. It doesn't matter how big he is if you just make him another. That was the problem with the Big Show. The Big Show, Vince McMahon hired him away from WCW and saying, I'm going to make him the next Andre the Giant. And you know what they did with Andre the Giant? He lost once every fucking decade. That was why it mattered. It was important when Andre lost. The Big Show lost so many times in like his first 6 months of being there because everybody else was so much more over it. It was the era of Austin and Rock and Foley and Triple H and everybody else. He got lost in the shuffle. He became another guy. He's 7.5 feet tall, and he's just another guy on that roster because they jobbed him out too much. And I don't
way too many bumps to be that big.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's
he should have been definitely kept like the guy that no need to put him in a title match. So you could have definitely just kept him being like the big bully, just beat the shit out of everybody that got in his way. And the only way he lost is sometimes, like, who knows, disqualification. Or he fucking
it has to be a special match, like a falls count anywhere, and you throw him off the stage or some shit like that.
Right. You can't just beat a guy like that.
Yeah. Ryan says, what if Rollins helps Punk win with the promise of I'll be back to cash this in on you? And he could I'm almost picturing him doing the same speech he gave to Cody about I'll be your shield, Punk, and like send his 2 goons out to like spear the shit out of Gunther. Like if Gunther's going to lose, he just can't lose to a fucking go to sleep from CM Punk. Let me just put it that way. Like they got to hit him with a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So that's not a bad idea. Dave Abbey. The build-up should be Punk's go to sleep versus Gunther putting people to sleep. Yeah. And I think, we're in the situation of CM Punk has to hit like the middle rope, go to sleep, or like 3 of them in a row or so. It can't just be like, oh, I'm going to hit him with 1 and lock in the Anaconda Vice and I'm going to tap out Gunther again. Cause like, I'll fucking throw up.
Yeah, you're right.
It has to be if Gunther loses, like that was why I didn't like the WrestleMania match with Jay, and then I liked their rematch because it just felt like a different kind of match. And the loss from Gunther came out of nowhere. They never really established that choke until WrestleMania. It would have been nice if Jey Uso choked some people out on the way up, and it was like hey, I learned a new move, and I'm gonna get you with it, instead of like, oh, surprise, I learned a new move, and the match is over 2.5 minutes later. Like, fuck me, right?
Yeah. No, you're right. Like I said, because even if they had done like the 1, 2, 3, and he was out cold, that would have been so much better than the freaking tap.
And because Moxley tapped, and that was a 9-month build up to a tap.
Correct.
They didn't build up to a tap. Like nobody, and which is a good surprise, but nobody would have put money on Jey Uso tapping out Gunther at WrestleMania. So there was just no precedent for it. And even the crowd reaction when it happened was like, it was less of a pop and more of like he can do that. Okay.
Right. It was holy shit. He got him in the sleeper, and then wait, did he just win? What the fuck just happened?
Right. Exactly. I'm a big fan of what they call in theater, the rule of 3s. Yep. And it's the same thing with wrestling. He should have tried it 3 times. And maybe he didn't. I'm just not watching close enough.
Nowhere.
Excuse me, but the first time
that came out of nowhere after when Gunther put Jimmy in it. Was the only
right
where it became like that was his revenge or whatever. But he never practiced it before that, right?
So there we go. So in the match, he should have tried to get it at one point and try and hook it in, and Gunther stops him, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't do this. The second time, he should be able to get a little closer and maybe get it in, but Gunther grabs the ropes so he can't pull him down, breaks it up. So now we know he can get him in it. And then the third time, he actually gets him, and like you said, instead of the tap, you do the old school 1, 2, 3 drop, and that's what everybody, whether it's the mat counting or on the sleeper hold, the 3 count, the crowd wants that 1, 2, 3. And Gunther's fighting, the first one he's kind of fighting, boom. The second one and then the third one, his hand just drops and everybody goes 3, and we missed that moment.
because it's not one of the tap outs where it could be like, oh my God, agonize, like, I'll make it stop like a figure eight or something where you're like screeching in pain. It's just like, you're dead. What the hell?
Right. Compared to Jon Moxley, who was literally bleeding from the forehead and being hung with a chain and acting like he looked like he was drowning.
Yes.
Like that was the best description I can give. Like he looked like somebody who was, and he might have been holding his own breath, but he looked like he was choking and then tapped to tell him to let go of the choke. And like, that was the way to do a finish, a tap out finish like that.
Yeah.
Comparatively.
Especially with blood profusing all. Now, but see, if they pulled like a Stone Cold Steve Austin with that and Moxley like completely bleeding, doing everything, and he passed out.
That would have made sense too.
That would have made sense too. That would have been like, okay, that was a really climactic refs calling it. It was just dead at WrestleMania for it. I agree.
Right. It was just it was a good thought for a finish, but it just didn't.
It didn't connect the way it should have. Yeah.
Right. Just because it did kind of come out of nowhere.
Right. And I'm one of the ones who was actually happy that Jey Uso won, but I did not like the finish.
Right. And I think part of that, we all kind of knew Jey Uso was winning, our thoughts about him regardless. So I was just, the match wasn't bad. It was just like that finish really just came out of nowhere. So it wasn't my favorite match in the world. And then compare it to the match they had the next time on Raw, and it was great. I mean, the finish went the other way, but even if they went back to the finish and did it like we said, and like Jey Uso now definitively Jey Uso has Gunther's number with the rear naked choke, and that's just like a thing in wrestling now. Like you don't headbutt a Samoan. It's like, oh, his weakness is getting choked out. So now that can be that's a thing. It's little things, guys. It's little storytelling things. So we do have a couple comments to like run through here. Jasim, Seth Rollins tried to cash in, Roman Reigns stopped the cash in. So that could be the SummerSlam thing. And then it saves Seth. He's injured, so he doesn't have to do anything. He could just walk out with the briefcase like he's going to cash in. Roman's music hits. He comes down from the crowd and chases him out. I don't fucking know. And Dave, can anybody explain why they lifted Goldberg's arm once and then called the match? Yet when Cross had the cross jacket on Sammy, it was 3 times. Yeah, they are not. The reason is they're not consistent. What's happening is in the real world, in real fighting, which is now the standard. Like a lot of people, there's a lot of crossover. UFC is not like a backroom, bar room kind of thing anymore. Like you used to have to like trade tapes and really find UFC and MMA fights because they were considered like pit fighting and ultra violent and no rules and they kill each other and all the kinds of crazy shit that rumors were made up in the 90s. So it wasn't mainstream. And then UFC became very mainstream. So now the precedent is when somebody gets choked out in an MMA match and they're completely out, the referee stops it. He like pushes the other guy away, basically going, no, the fight's over, and waves it off. So they try and replicate that. But sometimes they remember that it's pro wrestling and you need to do the goofy 1, 2, 3 thing, even though in real life, if you waited those extra 3, let's be real, it's more than 3 seconds. If you waited those extra 10 seconds, that guy has brain damage. Like, but it's a uniquely pro wrestling thing. The 3-arm drop is uniquely pro wrestling, and it should be, regardless of the real life rules, it should be the standard.
Yeah.
Because it like you said, it accomplishes the same thing as a 3 count. The audience wants to participate in it and count along and then there's the drama of on the 3rd, when Hulk Hogan would do it and the 2 would drop and then
his arm would start shaking and
right.
Oh, and so
there was nothing better than that back in the day. That's the best thing ever.
It works both ways, and it's a near fall. If the referee just does it in one and says no, he's out and pushes him away, there's no near fall. You know what I mean? It's not, or there's no chance of a near fall. It's just not as climactic. Yeah.
Yeah, because the only wrestler I remember really them doing that to, like we're talking about back in the day, would have been like Ted DiBiase's $1 Million Dream.
Right, because it would be on a jobber, and they would just be like, okay, the jobber gets choked out. But when he puts it on Hogan or Macho Man, they give him the 3-arm drop because,
right,
it's part of a bigger match. It would be at a SummerSlam or a WrestleMania.
Correct.
But anyway, any other takeaways from Saturday night's main event before we get into what I'm considering the best pay-per-view of the year, All In Texas?
Doug
Just
Dillinger.
one thing. Fuck Goldberg.
There it is.
Yeah, but I was going to say more importantly,
There you go.
Doug Dillinger was there.
Oh, yes, that was a great crew. I don't know the name of everybody in there, but I know Chuck Zito was in there. I know Goldberg's kid Gage was there. Doug Dillinger. There would be no more run-ins in WWE if they hired Doug Dillinger as the head of security again. He kept shit pretty tight, except for when the NWO was around.
Yeah, Ernie Ladd was in there too.
The big lad, Ernie Cat.
You mean Ernest Miller?
Oh,
Yeah,
Ernest Miller.
I know.
Yeah.
Ah,
The other cat, yes. The slightly less big
yeah.
cat. Yes, Dave in
Hey,
there
I
with
was
the
putting my face to recognize him at least in that 2.2 seconds. That has to count for something.
and he was the guy who had somebody call my mama before Brodus Clay.
right.
But that was the best thing too. When I put the wrong name in the chat, Ryan goes, "I doubt it. He's dead." It was like, "Oh fuck, wrong one."
Hey, at least there are people around to correct you.
Exactly. But I was more shocked. I'm like, "What the fuck is Chuck Zito doing there?"
Yeah, that was a weird one. But I guess they're bike guys or whatever. Goldberg has a lot of choppers and shit. So
Yeah.
I, feel
I mean,
like
Zito was like a big. Chuck Zito was a friend of like all of those guys.
Right, but he's a diabetic. Like I said, when I went to the Survivor Series at MSG, he's the one that got my seats changed because I saw him 2 rows ahead of me. And when I walked up to him and everything, I said, "My dad used to work on your bike." He's like, "Who's your dad?" I go, "Johnny No-Folds." He goes, "Are you the same little fucking pipsqueak that used to hang around the shop?" I'm like, "Yeah, that was me." And he bumped us out as we all moved up to ringside.
that's actually crazy. That's very cool.
So I'm just like, but I'm like, dude, that's why I have that Hell's Angels support the Center Reach charter. He gave me that with my dad.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yep. I've known Chuck Zito since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
So to see him on TV was kind of like, and not being on.
He was all over WCW back then.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
that's because when he was on Oz, so it was huge.
Oh yeah, that was, and they did Road Wild every year.
He'd show up with Hollywood Hogan every once in a while, or you know.
He's a crazy dude, but it was just weird because I don't, like I said, aside from seeing him at a wrestling event or whatever, I don't think I've ever seen him on WWE television. I've seen him on WCW.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him on.
Right, I think that was the first.
So that was just like really, and like all the entourage that come out there, I'm like, holy crap, they just put Chuck on TV. Oh my God.
So we'll get into it here for AEW All In. We'll skip the pre-show. If you watch the pre-show, I mean, I watched it, but you know, we're talking about fucking 8 hours of wrestling.
Mercedes Moné, your 4 lips.
Oh,
great! Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, we will get into
that. Was definitely not PG.
No, we'll get into that. So they kicked off that pay-per-view. The Ops beat the Death Riders for the trio to retain the trios championships. You know, really what happened, like they had a good build to this where they went from like the least important to the most important stuff in the last hour or two was just all huge main event style matches. Not that this trios match wasn't good. It was just like, you know, a lot of this stuff on the undercard gets overshadowed. Like MJF won the men's gauntlet, the Casino Royale gauntlet, which is great. And it was a good gauntlet, but like after the main event, everything, you know, you kind of lose focus. Yeah. The real headline of the early part of the show is that Adam Cole came out and said that he was injured. He didn't specify what the injury is. We'll talk about the speculation in a second of what it exactly is. And he said that he contemplated retiring, decided to not retire, and is just taking a health-related hiatus. Damn near felt like a retirement because then the rest of the Paragon guys came out and they did a big bow and
yeah, you and I were watching that at the same time. We're like, what the fuck just happened?
And it's crazy, too. He's in the best shape of his life that I've seen him in.
Yeah, he's you know, a lot of people are like, oh, he's skinny now. It's like, yeah, but the alternative was he was a little too thick for a small guy. So like he lost weight. He was in like good shape. He started getting back on his horse wrestling wise, something happened where he got, injured. People think it's the Kyle, one of the was it Kyle Fletcher's like power bomb on the outside or something. But Adam Cole said his head did not hit the mat on that. So who knows? Once you've had 2 concussions, it's very, very easy to get a third one. So he could, it could have been a simple bump, and he could have just hit his head wrong, or his brain got rattled a little bit, or whatever it was. And so it's concussion related as far as everybody's been able to figure out. And he's really on the fence about whether or not he's coming back. And this could be another thing of like a Christian or an Edge or a Bryan Danielson situation or Saraya, where he's gone for 7-8 years and comes back. Because he's a young guy. So he could like go away for a very long time.
He's 36, I believe.
Oh, is he 36? So yeah, even then, DDP started wrestling in his 40s, whatever. It's fine.
No, 30s, mid-30s, wasn't it? Or late 30s or something?
Yeah, I mean, he'd always been in wrestling, but his main event push really didn't start until his 40s.
Very true.
DDP didn't get successful in WCW until he was 38 years old.
Yeah, when he became TV champion, right? Or something like that?
Yep, yeah, that was that whole thing when him and Kimberly came in and everything, yeah.
Did y'all know he was by Al Snow?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
No. So that leads to the TNT title being vacated. They do a 4-way. They kind of changed up their plans for that match. And Dustin Rhodes, at 56 years old, wins his first singles championship in AEW. And he is also
so absolutely happy.
It was great to see. It was a great moment. It was absolutely deserved. Here's what happened. The crowd was so down about Adam Cole. They really didn't recover until the Swerve Osprey against the Bucks match, but this win definitely picked them back up. And Tony made the right call to put it on Dustin, because I think the speculation was Kyle Fletcher's winning this thing, taking the TV title, and it seemed like that was the plan.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
who is that guy, by the way? Like, why are they so big on him?
So he came in with the United Empire, the whole group that Osprey had. It was him. It was Kyler Fletcher, Will Ospreay. Back in New Japan, it was JC Mateo, Jeff Cobb, and Mark. I'm forgetting Mark's last name. But anyway, they were all together. It's not Mark Coffey, but anyway, they were all together in this group. Kyle Fletcher was actually a very lean, very skinny guy, and
with a different haircut.
And he was just with a floppy fucking Justin Bieber haircut, and like they were like, oh, he's the next Osprey, and everybody's like, yeah, but he's like small, he's skinny, he doesn't really have a personality. And then he went and fucking bulked up, and he shaved his head, and he's with Don Callis, and he's been showing more personality, and the fans call themselves Fletchlights.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, it was Mark Davis is his name.
Mark Davis, yes.
Yeah, because Aussie Open.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Aussie Open was their tag team, and they were part of the United Empire. And Dave Abbey does say they said it was a neck injury that he suffered in the Fletcher match. Okay, so the neck injury, that would make a lot of sense because he's had kind of a history of.
I keep thinking of Fletch with Chevy Chase.
Right.
Dr. Rosen?
Rosen? He should do some of that. Just seem Mark Briscoe is a treasure, by the way. Mark Briscoe, they had a fantastic segment with him and MJF on Dynamite. He's great.
Do we have like a leaf blower or something?
I don't even know. He's got some. He's great. He's just great, but he gets real. He got real serious because MJF said some out of pocket shit. So then you had very serious Mark Briscoe, which is very cool. So yeah, speaking of the next match here, when we start to really get into the meat and potatoes of all this shit, Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay against the Young Bucks for the titles of EVP. If the Bucks lose, they are no longer EVPs, and if Ospreay and Swerve lose, then they can't challenge for the World Championship for a calendar year.
That was a great match.
That was amazing.
Fantastic tag team match.
That one run when they both did the pound driver on them, they both got up and Super Saiyan, and both hit them, bro. That shit, that was amazing.
It was high octane tag team wrestling. And Swerve and Ospreay worked really well together as guys who I don't think tag team together very often.
Very well. They gel very well, but they're great rivals. So
they are. So and they work well together. Of course, the Young Bucks always work well together. The finish I didn't expect because I thought there was going to be a story leading up to next year, going back to Wembley Stadium, that Will Ospreay couldn't challenge for the title for a whole year, and that expires right before next year when they go back to Wembley. So I thought if he won the Owen for next year and it lifted the ban on his championship challenge, and then he finally wins the big one at Wembley, that would be the moment. And in the meantime, him and Swerve have problems, so they have a feud for a couple months before anything else, down the line there. So I thought that was the direction they were going. Instead, they're sending the fans home happy. No more EVPs. It's not that Ospreay and Swerve are EVPs. I believe this is the case. I believe it's just that in storyline now, officially the only authority figure is, Christopher Daniels is like a general manager, and then Tony Khan. And that's it. Right. There's no more elite influence on the matchmaking, which is great because that was starting to really conflict, because like if they can just put themselves in tag team title matches all the fucking time, why wouldn't they just do it? So it makes sense that they don't have that much control anymore.
Yeah, but probably whatever, out of all the whole show was amazing, but that is in my top 3 of matches.
Oh yeah, I think that was in my top 3 of the night. The women's casino gauntlet was very good. Athena wins the clipboard on that one for the future title shot, which well deserved. It's about time. She's been Ring of Honor champion for like 2 or 3 years straight now, so it's time she started getting more on AEW TV.
Absolutely. I know Eric's not going to dispute that.
Right.
Of course not.
And she's really
I'm a big fan of Ember's Moon.
She even said in the press conference afterward that she came in to AEW kind of cocky because she's like, hey, I came in from WWE, I'm hot shit, and then realized very quickly that she wasn't, and she needed to like catch up to what these girls were doing on the indies and doing in AEW, and that's why they, she kind of went back to her roots. She had a main card run on AEW for a little while, and then they decided to put her down into Ring of Honor and make her the champion there. And I think she really benefited from that. But now is the time, you activate that. There's a certain amount of time that you cultivate it, and then you got to activate it. Oh, I see a hand. Okay.
Hello.
Oh God. So, sorry, Steve, ahead of time.
I'm not that. I don't talk about Obafemi being a feminine hygiene product. Or I don't talk about eggplants.
Anyway. We do not get into eggplants on this show.
No.
Do we need to? Anyways.
Wrong show.
Anyways. So I wasn't home, but I'm going to give you my rundown of all my show opinions. All right. First, didn't watch Great American Bash. I had work. Okay, don't care. Saturday's main event was very underwhelming. I watched more ads than more wrestling. My honest opinion.
If you were watching it on NBC, of course you're going to see commercials.
I was on Peacock. I didn't go on NBC. I was on Peacock.
Okay.
Anyways, I forgot like half of the card. The only like memorable moment from Saturday night's main event was seeing Jelly Roll, and that was the only good part of Saturday night's main event. Besides seeing Gage Goldberg on my screen, because I like Gage Goldberg more than Bill Goldberg.
Could have fooled me by how much you were crying when Goldberg lost.
Well, yeah, because I have an emotional attachment to him. Hello, do you know my bloodline?
Oh Jesus.
Because you're Jewish?
I know.
Ding 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 ding.
Is that all it takes to be a Goldberg fan? You just got to be Jewish?
Ask my dad.
And Tara in the comments is correct that what we didn't come up with that. Tara, with the joke of the year 2024, came up with Obafemi as a feminine hygiene product.
No, you went on commercial jingles for 20 minutes.
We did
Wait,
the Summer's Eve.
Aura Mensa.
That was good. Anyway, we're at AEW now, so Ashbet.
Okay, wait. I have a couple things to say. Evolution was great. Rhea and Io Sky is definitely one of the top 5 greatest women's matches of all time. Naomi well deserved. AEW, I think because I was at my friend's birthday party when mom texted me that Adam Cole like just announced it, and I literally called her and I said, "Can I cuss?"
Shit. Oh my god. Oh my god.
So
I said, "What the fuck?" And all my friends. And
mind you, she was at a Christian party.
No, it wasn't. It was Kason's birthday party.
And half of the people are from Young Life.
No, only Israel.
No, anyway.
Sorry. Also, AEW is great. However, it will never, ever, ever match WWE again. Thank you, England.
Thank God she's done. Okay.
Oh, Logan Paul for president.
No, get the fuck out.
And I can't close the window because then I'd close it out on Kat. If it was just her window, I would close hers out and leave Kat's. But
I can mute her. It's okay, sweetheart.
Nice. So the Hurt Syndicate defended their championship in a 3-way match, which was kind of a after the women's match, the Casino Gauntlet was kind of a come down. It wasn't a bad match. It just isn't. The real headline of the match was afterward. Nick Wayne turns on Christian, Edge makes the save. And Edge comes out and says, "Go find yourself," instead of "go fuck yourself," like they were saying to each other back and forth. So it seems like we are on the road to an Edge and Christian reunion.
That is true, my friend. I like it.
The world.
Go find yourself or go fix yourself. What did you say to him?
Go find yourself. And it's like, oh, okay. So the headline here is that All Out is in Toronto.
Ooh.
So they have an opportunity.
How far out is All Out?
I will find out. All Out 2025. And it says September 20th. So we've got plenty of time to build to September 20th for them to tease reuniting, finally reunite, and then get an opportunity at the tag titles in September. We got plenty of time.
And who's the current tag champs right now in AEW?
It's the Hurt Syndicate.
That'll be interesting. And they've had the titles for a while, right?
They have, which means that it could, at one point it could go back to FTR or the Bucks. People kind of want to see a TLC match between Edge and Christian, the Young Bucks, and FTR, which I think would be the fuckiest match that ever fucked in all of Fuckville. Like, oh my God.
What the fuck did you say?
I'll tell you when you're older.
Thank you.
But good tag match with the headlines. Edge and Christian are going to eventually reunite. And then we get into our triple main event, which, as they say in OSW review, usually means no main event. Because if you have to say it's a triple main event, the 3 matches aren't that strong. But this was not the case, because we start off our triple main event with Mercedes Moné challenging Timeless Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship. And yes, no knock on Rhea Ripley and Io Sky and what they did in that match, and then Naomi's cash in. That was great. This was a
timeless
moment. It was a timeless moment in pro wrestling. It is what the women wrestlers can do if you give them the opportunity to do it. And so often they don't get that opportunity. And they showed on the biggest stage of AEW's, history for the US and, the biggest stage of the year. It's basically their WrestleMania. They put on a WrestleMania level performance, which ended shockingly, because I didn't think this was going to happen at all. Timeless Toni Storm retains the championship, and Mercedes Moné suffers her first loss in AEW.
I think they did it because they know what they got with Toni, and Toni would be more affected from a loss. And not only that, I just feel they want to put more pristine on their title,
right?
Than letting it just be part of a trophy collection for Moné.
And it does make Toni win, because Toni acknowledges the whole time throughout this feud that she knows Mercedes is a better wrestler than her, but then she goes out and beats her. So what does that mean? That legitimizes Toni. Like, Toni's already legitimate because of all the matches she had with Mariah May and everybody else, but like beating the undefeated Mercedes Moné adds another level of prestige to what Timeless Toni Storm was doing. So yeah, I think it was a great call. It was surprising to me. I wasn't mad about it. I just thought it was a great call.
1,000,000%. And just some of the stuff that they pulled out during that match is just, I don't think I've ever seen half of the stuff they ever did in women's wrestling before.
No, and the
stuff they did with Luther too.
Luther's the best.
Yes.
Yeah, he adds so much. It's just another little thing that, yes, you could send Timeless Toni Storm out there by herself and she'd be great. That just elevates it that little bit more.
Absolutely.
And I mean, yeah, and then the spot, like, Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm going to say this as delicately as possible because we're streaming on the internet and I don't want to get us taken off the internet. There was a point where Toni Storm bit Mercedes Moné.
Yes.
In a very sensitive area.
Yeah.
I didn't watch. What area might that be?
Well,
Donald Trump grabs it a lot.
Let me put it this way. Toni Storm, as Eric so succinctly put it earlier, did say in the post press conference that Mercedes' lips tasted great, all four of them. So if you need to know, yeah.
I mean, that puts Trish and Mickie James to shame, man.
It was up there as one of the most erotically lesbian moments in professional wrestling history.
And let me put it this way. You know how you guys always like when they get a shot to the balls or whatever and all the guys go, oh, and they grimace and cover their legs or whatever? Yeah, that's what I was doing when I was watching. It's like, there we, yeah.
Oh, are you saying that getting bit on the hoo-ha is not exactly feeling good? Like it feels bad?
Like that it ain't.
Yeah, no, yeah, you got to nibble on it. Yeah, guys out there, you got to nibble on it.
Alphabet.
I'll tell you when you're older.
And I look up to you like an uncle.
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody told you to do that. You just chose to do that.
I mean, it's a respect thing.
I mean, listen, I don't know what you got going on in high school. I'm just telling you.
She's fine.
If you what I'm saying is if you're ever down under, just nibble on it. You'll be fine. That's it.
No, I'm okay. Thanks.
All right, good. All right.
Good. Next topic. But yes, no, that would be painful.
Kat, are you saying she's not a bushwhacker? We lick more than just armpits, mate.
Dude, one of them was called Butch, remember?
Oh my God. So anyway, yes, we went from one of the best women's matches, the best women's matches of all time, to this nonsense. Apologies, but also not. We're giving you extra time because we started early because I'm an idiot. The second of the three main events, Okada Omega, one more time. And Okada takes it. I kind of figured if Don Callis and all those guys got involved that Kenny would end up losing the match. Makes a lot of sense. They've built up the injury, all that stuff. But I mean, goddamn, what another one that's just like these two guys have such chemistry working together that I love watching. They could wrestle every fucking week, and I'd love watching it.
Absolutely.
They're talents, man. Like they are like Kenny coming back from an injury, amazing. And like Okada, who people have been saying the last 2 or 3 years, he's kind of been just dogging it in AEW and wrestling, not up to the standard that people expect of the Rainmaker. And he's just proven he's like Randy Orton. Anytime he wants to turn it on, he just flips the switch and he's on. He's just ready to fucking go. And this was the time to turn, like he turned on all the jets. Kenny Omega pulled out all the stops. And, for a guy who literally, like Brock Lesnar, had several feet of intestine taken out of his body to come back and start wrestling again, amazing.
And that fucking entrance was insane.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of entrances, shout out, first of all, Assassin's Creed for another great Will Ospreay entrance. And fucking JoJo is out there singing.
Oh my God,
Ain't
Shaka
nobody.
Khan.
Oh my God, that Shaka Khan was.
Oh my God, freaking fantastic.
And that was Swerve's song on the Indies. He said that he's not using it regularly as a song anymore because he feels like his character is not that guy anymore. But it was a great addition to the intro. That was like when they played Metallica during Triple H's entrance and then stopped it and turned the game on by Motorhead. So it was like it was a nice part A of the intro, and then you get your regular big entrance for Swerve. The entrances were amazing. Oh yeah, she looked great and she sang great. I mean, I was glad, instead of just using a track, which they could have just paid for the rights for the track, they got someone to sing it who nailed it. Like, you had to nail that song, and she nailed it.
Yep.
And here we are, the final match, the one that everybody's been waiting for 9 months.
Yep.
Hangman Adam Page, Jon Moxley, Texas Death for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship.
How long did that match go, by the way? Do we have an official time?
It says 35:55. I could have sworn it went 45 or 50 minutes, but I guess it didn't.
I thought so too. I thought it ended up almost being an Iron Man match.
I know, right? All right. I don't know who Steve Katz is, but it says, "Hey, hi, Steve. We are coming in to Prestige Thursday at 12:30. Zoe and Toby and me are looking forward to seeing you. Boy, wrestling is getting sexy." Yeah. No, I mean, you're not wrong there, Steve Katz. Here's the thing. There was a point where the sexy was being forced on the women, and then the reaction to that was to pull back on it completely. And now it's become their choice to involve that in their, you know what I mean? So
all these women have their asses out because they choose to nowadays.
Right.
Instead of being forced to during the Attitude Era.
Exactly. And they're not barking like dogs or doing any of that other shit. They're just being
owning their sexuality and how they want to put it out there, which is a completely different market than when
and some of them choose not to. You know what I mean? Some of them just choose not to go that route, and if you do, that's fine. And others choose to lean into the sexuality. And
it's legit for like not to go back to Evolution, but like that whole intro to Evolution about the girls sitting on the couches and everything, and them not throwing away the male wrestlers and bringing out the female wrestlers to wrestle with. My generation of that was that the women matches were for the men because there was no real wrestling or anything involved in it unless it was certain specific wrestlers, because it was bra and panty matches, evening gown matches, or doing whatever shit like that. It's at a level playing field now where they're equal and can put on fucking classic matches, even in Evolution, just alone on what Mercedes and Tony did. This shit never would have flown when I was a kid of wrestling to see two women just beat the piss out of each other.
No, because the truth of the matter is, from 1950-ish until about 1999, every single woman in wrestling, go watch Dark Side of the Ring, was basically trained by Moolah and her camp, because Moolah had a death grip on women's wrestling throughout the fucking country. And if you didn't work with Moolah, you got blackballed. And everybody played the game. WWF, NWA, all the territories played the game with Moolah. If they wanted women's wrestling, they went through Moolah. It's just what it was. And she only wrestled this very outdated snapmare, grab her by the hair and throw her hair mare, step on the hair and then pull her up so you're pulling her hair. It was all very just low level, a lot of somersaults and shit. Yeah, it was all just
pinning combination. Yeah,
it was garbage. And the real women's wrestlers kind of went by the wayside, because there were real women's wrestlers back in that era. But if you didn't play ball with Moolah, you just didn't. You know what happened to Joan Byers and all those girls? You know what I mean? It's just that's just
Sherry Martel and Luna Vachon and everything got put to the wayside a lot because they wrestled completely different styles than what Moolah was putting out there as the product. Yep.
Exactly. And even then you saw it in Glow. Glow was not technical wrestling. It was all character. And it was most of them weren't even wrestlers. They were just trained by what's her name from Right to Censor?
Ivory. Ivory. Yep.
Yeah.
She was one of the few.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was one of the few actual wrestlers on that show. And then the redheaded lady, she passed away recently in the last couple years. She was in Deathstalker 2 in the wrestling match, and she was also, I forget her character on Glow, but she was the big redheaded lady, and she was another real wrestler. There was only a handful of them on Glow. The rest of them were like
Matilda the Hun?
I think that was it. Yep. Deathstalker 2 is a crazy movie.
But then you had female wrestlers like in Japan. You have like Bull Nakanos and stuff like that
Right.
that had no reason to come here to compete because what they were doing over there was completely different. Like women's wrestling was huge over in all the other countries, just not here.
Right. Yeah, it was women's wrestling was taken way more seriously in Mexico and Japan and even Europe than here for a long, long time. And Jassim, I wonder what the men are doing when Evolution is taking place since the women's pay-per-view. I'll tell you, Randy Orton was probably smoking weed and playing Call of Duty. AJ Styles was probably saying the rosary and playing Call of Duty. And
one was having his boo-boo taken care of.
Right. Seth Rollins was drinking coffee and icing his knee. There were a lot of different things. But what they weren't doing, unless they were married to one of them, was watching that pay-per-view. This is, as much as I love wrestling and I love comedy and I love all the stuff that I do, if I watched every single bit of it that came out, it would drive me fucking insane. So if there's a night off, you're taking a night off.
Yeah. Like Maurice out there with both of her daughters and everything. Mike Mizanin wasn't anywhere around any of that.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, back to this fucking main event, 35 minutes. It felt like an epic movie. Like it really felt like the final battle of Endgame, the same way that like Cody's match with Roman was callbacks to other people and other feuds that were involved to like neutralize the bloodline. The big difference being everybody that was involved in this AEW portion. Sting didn't show up. Darby Allin did. Swerve and Nana showed up. You know, everybody that, that came out was a current babyface on the roster. A young guy, Ospreay, came out. It was the guys that they're investing in as the future main eventers came out, and it wasn't legends. It wasn't the Undertaker and all that. You know what I mean? It was the homegrown. This was the showcase for the homegrown guys and a victory for the biggest homegrown guy, going from why are they signing Adam Page and why is he in the first ever main event against Chris Jericho to people clamoring for him to win his world title now because of all the struggles he's went through. He was world champ. He had a great story with Kenny Omega, won the belt from Kenny, and then CM Punk came in and just derailed whatever plans they had for him, and the belt bounced between Punk and Moxley a couple times, and then Punk left and all that other shit happened. So there was a big struggle. There was a story here. And even, in the response to that, Adam Page turned heel for a long time. He feuded with Swerve. He ended up turning heel in that feud and then running with the heel thing for a long time until he started to kind of turn it around. The fans were like, man, this is our guy. And even during the Owen, he wins the Owen, and there was this speech by Ospreay afterward with him and Swerve and Hangman in the ring. He says, I thought it was me. It's not me. He looked at Swerve. We thought it was you. It's not you. And he looks at Hangman. He goes, it's him. It's always been him. And he was the guy. Like this was the way that you proved he was the guy. And a lot of that had to do with, like Eric said, there was a lot of uncertainty with the title. Why is it in a briefcase? What is he holding on to it for? Blah, blah, blah. There's all these conspiracies about who was behind it. There's a higher power, et cetera, et cetera. Is it Shane McMahon? Is it really the elite behind it? All this other stuff. Now that we see the end of it, what we know is that the whole idea was to make people miss the AEW World Championship, to make people miss the feeling that they had when their guy held the title and actually held the title and presented it to everybody. He took a very important part of wrestling, and they hid it away intention, which is a bold move, and it doesn't necessarily always work out. And even
arguably
in the middle,
the most important part of wrestling for every promotion is top title. It's top
exactly. And people were furious, and not just like I'm wrestling mad. They were like, this show sucks because there's not a world champion that I can see. I need this belt as the defining thing. And all the promos, if you listen to Jon Moxley, was I'm taking that away from you. The way John Cena says he was going to take stuff away, Jon Moxley took it away. He took the title and he put it the fuck away. And then everything that happened in this match was a comeuppance for the Death Riders. They all got their shots. They all got taken out. Marina Shafir got taken out. And then, the big moment of, so first of all, Moxley comes out with a literal bed of nails. Like when you see like a street performer in India with snakes and shit, like a literal bed of nails. And they did power bombs and fucking face plant. Adam Page took a face plant out of that. There was barbed wire. I mean, it was the craziest. And I've watched a lot of deathmatch stuff, and I know that goes off the rails. So I guess discounting that kind of stuff, this was the craziest Texas deathmatch. It's just not something WWE can do. Like this was, I keep comparing it to the Cody match because it's very similarly structured, and that was like it was a tribal combat or whatever. So it was the same thing as Texas Death, but AEW takes it that extra level. They take it to that we're still kind of underground. We're the second promotion. We can be more like ECW, and like that's what the appeal is, that we're not like WWE.
Right.
So they give this, and I mean, they literally started out the match brawling. Moxley gets put into a triangle choke by Hangman. Hangman pulls a fork out of his cowboy boot and stabs Moxley on the head. And
repeatedly,
within a minute or a minute and a half of the match starting, Moxley's busted open. And then Hangman gets busted open with the fucking barbed wire and the glass bottles that they smashed into the ring. And it's hard to describe to somebody who's not into like the bloody stuff or into like even into pro wrestling to explain why this was such a moment. It was so cathartic, why it felt like it mattered. It's hard to explain because it's like watching a movie, but there's something more visceral about it because in the movie there are stuntmen and CGI and ropes and wires and all kinds of shit. This is these two guys coming out, feeding off the energy of a live crowd to put on they have to do this live in the moment. They have to go for 35, almost 36 minutes and not fuck up. And if you fuck up, you have to pretend you didn't fuck up and keep going. Like it's so insane to think that wrestling came from Gorgeous George doing a fucking headlock to this. But you shouldn't, every match doesn't need to be this. But when you have a storyline that decides that it's taken to this extreme, and this is the same thing with the old NWA stuff. They got way more violent than WWF back in the day. The NWA stuff would end in a war games or end in a cage match like Ric Flair and Harley Race. And the cage matches would be bloody. I mean, I saw one. It was Ric Flair against Ricky Morton in a cage, and Ricky Morton had broken his nose, so he was wearing the face mask, and at one point Flair rips the face mask off and he beats his face in and he's bleeding from the nose, and then he takes the face mask and Ric Flair puts it on and he headbutts him, and then he takes the face mask and he's whipping him with it and beating him with it. I'm like, holy shit. Like that's again just something that you didn't get in the WWF days.
You wouldn't get that even though in present WWE would not have been able to pull off the type of match that was pulled off on Saturday. Not even close. It's a totally different company, different style.
Right. And we can say it's PG or whatever, but it's definitely like WWE is appealing to a more mainstream fan base, and they wouldn't push it that far. If they did, they wouldn't have the barbed wire wouldn't be there. The fork probably wouldn't be there. They'd just gig like somebody get hit in the head with a TV monitor and then they'd go down and then they start bleeding or something. But it wouldn't be this.
Yeah, they didn't start doing that till Foley got there.
Right, and they only did it because Foley and ECW was insanely hot at that point. So they were like, well, what's hot? We're going to do that, and we're going to sign a bunch of these guys over, which they did, and then they kept ECW afloat as basically a feeder league until they bled it dry. But yeah, that was the style. It was the style at the time, as they said in The Simpsons. So you had, you had those guys that wrestled the extreme style. Let's see here. Dave, Abby, speaking of women, Marie Shafir deserves a ton of credit for being the only woman in the main event faction with the exception of Judgment Day, kind of like China. Yeah, and she doesn't talk. And then when they decided to have her talk, all she does is scream about how Hangman is a pussy. And she has no nuance. There's no promo. There's not like a 7 years ago. There's no allusions or subtext to it. She just goes, Hangman, you're a pussy. You're a pussy. And that's just her promo. But her MMA background helps. Her wrestling has gotten better hanging out with these guys. And just the idea that she's choked out and been so slapped and been so responsible for interfering in these matches. And that was always kind of for Shield was like, well, it's the female wrestler. What are you going to do? You're really not going to hit her. And then they established, she hits like a guy, so you got to hit her back. And it's okay to hit her back because if not, she's going to kill you. So her getting put through a table, and then all of a sudden she's grabbing the briefcase and Nana hits her with the handcuffs and she can't interfere. And that's like one of the final nails in the coffin when I can't even, it was literally fucking Doctor Strange opened up the portal. Bryan Danielson comes out in a Blue Panther Lucha Libre mask, hits a knee, he's Daniel Bryan. The whole time Bryan Danielson is wearing this mask, he's acting like Bryan Danielson. There's no mystery. He rips it off. It's him. There's a video of Darby at Everest that they play on the big screen before this. Bryan Danielson comes out, hits the knee. Darby comes down like Sting or like he just repelled from goddamn Everest somehow. And he comes in and interferes. And then Nana hits the handcuffs on Marina, and the topper of it all, the guy who said he would never help Hangman, they had a great promo with each other that they showed on Collision. Hangman handed him a chain, and he left the choice in Swerve's hand. What are you going to do? And he came out, he used the chain, he handed it to Hangman. He's like, do what you got to do. And that's the chain. Canonically now, over the last several years, that's the chain that Hangman uses when he wins these matches as the literal hangman. He gets the submission or the knockout victory, hanging somebody over the rope. And he did that to Moxley once. And I think he passed out in that one. That's why they went with the different finish here. And again, the tap out, in this case, the tap out meant so much more. It reestablished Page as the guy. He was in a down period after that CM Punk thing. We all know it. And this elevated him back to that status. He's a made guy. He's a top guy. The future looks so bright for AEW, and it's so nice to finally be able to say that because you've got MJF, who's always been great. You've got Ospreay and Swerve, who've established themselves over the last couple of years. Omega and Okada are in the main event. Hangman's in the main event. Moxley's in the main event. You've got Ricochet hanging out around the main event. You've got the Hurt Syndicate. You got Edge, you got Christian. You've got legitimate main eventers all over this fucking roster. And now technically 2 world championships because of Okada's unified championship and then the world championship. So they've got a lot of champions, but they've also got a lot of contenders, men, women, tag teams. I'm excited to see what's next.
I think this is also going to be a different beast as far as Page's reign. Because the first one, I'll be honest, I thought he was a boring champion.
And that was it. And it's the Cody problem.
Different beast now.
Right. Cody had the same problem where the chase was so long and everybody was waiting for him to win. Once he won, they're like, okay, now what do we do? We don't know. So like he got that out of the way with the first title win. This one now, there's such a direction. Immediately, you've got Swerve and Ospreay. You've got MJF with that contract that he can cash in at any moment, like a Money in the Bank. So that's always lingering. There's a ton of content. And then there's Forbidden Door coming up. So then there's even the Japanese contingent and the Mexican contingent that comes in. And there's a lot of talent. And Dave Abbey's comment is great. Bed of Nails, sponsored by Dial Mattress. And I can just I can hear Michael Cole saying that if they did it on a WWE program, he would definitely say that. And that they would somehow have spray painted the Dial Mattress logo onto the Bed of Nails. But yeah, dude, I love that pay-per-view. I got to go back and watch that Texas Death Match one more time because I know I missed. So like I only remember bibs and bobs because it was so. The pace of it was just so frenetic and so much stuff was happening that I really want to go back and kind of absorb it one more time just to kind of fully grasp. And even just like JR on the call, coming back from cancer, getting a big ovation, and Hangman wins this grueling match. They slide the briefcase into the ring. Apparently what happened was, to make sure that nothing happened, they really didn't. Supposedly, they didn't lock it with the key. They just had duct tape around it to keep it closed, the briefcase, to make it easier. But in the moment, I think the fucking key just would have been the move because they did slide him the key. But I think he had to like cut the tape, and then maybe in all of the commotion, the thing still got locked. Long story short, Hangman Adam Page took about a minute and a half to unlock this briefcase, and in the middle of it, this is the moment everybody's been waiting for. And the build up to it is, this match is over. And now we just want the briefcase open. We want to see the title. And it's taking so long for him to do. And JR just goes, and it's taken so long to open the briefcase. He's having difficulties. And why wouldn't he have difficulties after everything else he's been through? This is just like an allegory of the struggle that he went through to get here. Now he's struggling with the briefcase itself. And it's like JR just brought it to that extra level with the commentary. And he opens the briefcase, he takes the title out, and that crowd was electric. And it was a great moment. It ended the pay-per-view the exact way it should have. We don't need any more heat on the Death Riders. They accomplished the goal they needed to accomplish, and now we move on to the next thing. And this was the right way to do it. And I loved that pay-per-view. It's up there. Pay-per-view of the year contender. Top AEW pay-per-view or top 5. Just a great show. Like I would, if you haven't watched it, go back and at least watch the 3 main event matches. If not the whole event, take time, take a day, set it aside, do what you got to do. But it's a great fucking show, man. It was so great.
Yeah, I had to go back and watch 2 matches. I went back and watched that match, and I watched Mercedes and Tony again because
I might have
watch
to do
the
that
first
too.
time, like you said, you think you whatever, but like you go back to see what, and it's sheer brilliant, brilliantly done.
Yeah. So I mean, that was great. We're way over time, which is cool because this is what happens when Steve's not here. But if anybody has any final thoughts, say them now, and then we'll do our closing thing.
I think the only other thing I was going to say, which I think Al was the one last week that was all over this or whatever, that the Battle Royal itself on Evolution, was actually, I did not expect to get to this match. I was not looking, I didn't really give 2 shits about the match. That ended up being an incredible Battle Royal.
I love a good battle royal. Any of those. I think the casino ones now, the way that AEW is doing them, and I have little tweaks that I would make to their format of it, just to make it a little more like interactive. Right. Like I like the idea that it's kind of randomized. The match can end and it's not like the Royal Rumble where you have to wait for everybody to get in the ring. You can technically end the match at any time with a pinfall, and that kind of adds a little more intrigue to it. But they keep saying the casino element, and they don't have. They used to have like a slot machine or a roulette wheel, or like people would the first ever Casino Battle Royale that they did, the storyline was that the Bucks were going around to different indie promotions, and you draw a card, and your card would be your entry. And I think they were doing them in suits, so it was like all
those giant chips they had. And all
I love. Oh, dude, the first All In, those chips were cool, but they would push like the spades, and all the spade card drawers would walk out, but we'd like 5 or 6 of them, and then the same thing with the hearts. And it was like, why don't you be like, okay, if you pulled the better card you pull, the later you go in, so you have an advantage. So it's like if you pull a 2, they're like, oh, the 2 of hearts, fucking Adam Cole, and he comes out, first. And then the person who has the 3 of spades, boom, they're the next one that comes out, Ricochet, whatever, boom. And then as you go on, you reveal on the screen the card that everybody drew. And then eventually you have the Joker, and it's like the Joker comes up on the screen first, and you're like, oh shit, there's a Joker, and then it's a surprise entrant.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. Tara, having the thought of everybody here, I'm just glad they didn't give it to Nikki Bella.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I
literally.
think, but Al was right. There was nobody other than Stephanie.
Yeah. She's the right choice. I mean, who else was? Let me just take a look real quick. I still have the tab over here.
That's my wrestling wife.
Now.
Yeah, well, the final 2, it being Lash and Stephanie, was very good to say. Yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I liked the women's tag title match.
Yeah, it was good.
More than I thought I would.
It was definitely a good match.
I liked the whole Charlotte saving Alexa from the spear from Zarya, which landed on Sol Ruka instead, which was awesome.
Yeah, there was a lot.
That was a good.
And speaking of Sol, have you seen her finisher?
Yeah,
the Soul Snatcher. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen. I think the women were dealt a bad hand this weekend. And they were like, fuck that. We're going to go out there and we're going to show these motherfuckers there's a reason they should take this shit more seriously. And I think they proved their point.
But I also like the cameos, like the Vicky Guerrero, excuse me. And Ivory and
Leilani Kai was there.
Jacqueline. And that was
cool. It's good to see that they're finally acknowledging them.
Of lack of build.
100%. 100%. There was a lack of build.
Yep.
Which sucks because it ended up and it ended up being a good pay-per-view, and it just imagine that pay-per-view with an extra 3 weeks of build. It just would have been better. It just factually just would have been better.
Yeah, more heat on rivalries and storylines and all that good stuff.
They could have even had
the whole thing. That was the least covered thing of the entire weekend of what was happening. Saturday Night's main event was pushed all over the place. Great American Bash, and then Evolution. And Evolution ended up kicking both Saturday Night main event and the Great American Bash's ass.
Big time.
They destroyed them.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think next year maybe they take it a little more seriously. They promote it. They put it on a weekend that's not this fucking AEW all in weekend, but just put it somewhere else, anywhere else. Even if you want to compete with an AEW pay-per-view, you really fucked everybody on the roster for 8 hours. There was an 8-hour block where most of the wrestling people were watching was AEW, unless you were a diehard WWE fan.
Yeah, that's not a battle they're going to win. They better come harder next time. They got to come with a stronger pay-per-view.
Yeah, man. I mean,
if they're gonna do that, they can't do that.
Or don't even against it at all. I mean,
don't do it. Well, that's the problem with competition, right? They feel like if they let them get the edge for 1 week,
right,
they might lose some fans, and that's just what competition is, right? I get that point of it.
And dude, I think they converted some people this weekend too.
I mean, the good thing about it is outside of NXT, there's not really competition, right, on a weekly basis, because you got Monday, then you have Wednesday, and then Friday, and they have Saturday. So we're pretty split down the line as far as weeks are concerned. I just think they definitely are going to get more tune-ins because a lot of people are talking about this. Look at me right now. We're talking about it. I've seen some highlights, and I'm probably going back as soon as we get off to go watch more highlights because I was
Yeah.
very excited about that. And isn't All In like what's their pretty much their New Year's? What's their WrestleMania?
This is it. Yeah, this is their
Right.
big
So
blow off for the year.
that means that new storyline starts. So for me, it'll be perfect. I could start Wednesday with a new storyline. I mean, tomorrow technically
Right.
with a new storyline, and I could just start the year off fresh, and I could just follow it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm curious where Moxley goes from here. What they do with him.
So they do have Hangman and Moxley wrestling in a 6-man tag against each other as the main event for this show.
Dynamite tomorrow?
For Dynamite tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah.
Who are they facing? Do you know? Was the 3-on-3 the roster?
Not off the top of my head, but there is the internet.
If you had to guess, who's their partner?
Probably the
Swerve?
Ops.
Oh, Ops.
I think it's the Ops.
Oh, I thought you said it was a 3-on-3. Is it 5-on-5?
No, it's 3-on-3. But what I'm saying is like 2 of the Ops and Hangman against.
Oh, right. I'm thinking,
3 of the
I'm
Death
stupid.
Riders.
I'm thinking. Okay.
That's what I. Oh, here it is. Oh no! So all right. So
there was Ospreay and what's his name?
I know Ospreay and Swerve would be great, but I think I don't know what they're doing with those. So here it is. It's Hangman, Mark Briscoe, and Powerhouse Hobbs against the Death Riders, Moxley, Yuta, and Cesaro.
All right, so that seems to me like the good guys might lose.
Yeah, because I think the setup is going to be now that it's the world title thing has been decided. The Death Riders are probably going to challenge the good guys to an anarchy in the arena, or not anarchy in the arena, a blood and guts, which is their version of the War Games.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be for the triple tag team?
So the Trios Championship is the Ops have it right now. Shibata, Samoa Joe, and Powerhouse Hobbs, and
they might go after them because I feel like Moxley is going to get a belt soon.
They might get those because they lost them too as the build up to All In. The Death Riders lost the Trios Championships. Pac got injured too. He was part of the trio, but now Moxley could be part of that trio. But basically, what it seems to be leading is a team of baby faces against the Death Riders in what's essentially a War Games match, blood and guts. Big Hell in a Cell sized cage, but twice as big because it fits 2 rings.
Okay.
They go on top of it sometimes. Jericho got thrown off of it one year. It's crazy. Like it's another one of those like they build up.
Is it like a War Games thing?
Yes, yeah, it's pretty much exactly War Games because this was when NXT was starting to do War Games again. And Vince McMahon said in some phone interview or something, or a press conference, that WWE was different than the blood and guts they were showing on the other channel or some such. And so Cody, being Cody, said, why don't we name our War Games Blood and Guts, as like a joke on Vince McMahon. And it's been that way ever since.
Okay.
And it's literally, I mean, it's about as old school NWA War Games as you can get, because again, AEW, the guys are allowed to like bleed and do some other stuff that you're really not allowed to do in WWE. So it gets, it ramps up that kind of match.
It's what you expect a War Games match to truly be in WWE, or what you would hope to get out of it.
Right. It's like when you go back and watch the old 80s War Games and like the 4 horsemen are bleeding all over the place and hitting people with lead pipes and shit. It's like that.
Yeah, Blood and Guts is way more to a traditional War Games than what WWE does. 100%.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I guess that's pretty much it. We've gone way over time. So unless anybody has any final thoughts, I'll wrap up here.
One more thing. Fuck Goldberg.
Hey, he said the line.
Just in case you forgot.
Just in case.
Excellent. He said the line.
And I tried to wait for your finger.
Yeah, because I knew it was coming. So I was like, I got a point, and I knew it was coming. And the last comment, shots. Yeah, and last but not least, Dave A. Shotzi beat Cardona for the Deathmatch God title. Yeah, Shotzi's been back on the indies. Some of these recent WWE NXT releases have found success in the indies and some have not, and that's just the way it shakes out sometimes. So, but good for Shotzi. She's back on her grind. Seems to be getting a lot of bookings.
She did a great interview on Chris Van Vliet.
She's cool. I mean, she seems very, just like down to earth, whatever.
I'm definitely going to meet her in November for WrestleCade.
Nice. I hope she has the tank.
Ah!
That'd be great. A picture of Eric in the tank.
With the helmet too.
With the helmet, yeah, you have to be wearing with your spear and magic helmet. My spear and magic helmet. That's for God. you 70 and older people listening to the fucking podcast right now.
I can't.
70 and older is crazy.
Al, did you get that one? The spear and magic helmet?
The spear and magic helmet?
It's from the opera episode of the Looney Tunes from about 1947, but it was always on Cartoon Network.
I will have to see the replay.
I will find this because it was a whole thing about Elmer Fudd is dressed in this like gold armor with Shotzi's fucking horned helmet, and he's got a spear. And Elmer Fudd goes, "My spear and magic helmet." And then Bugs Bunny goes, "Your spear and magic helmet." And he's like, "My spear and magic helmet." Yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah.
I think I remember now that you're saying that.
It's funny. A cartoon version of JG Wentworth commercial.
Yeah, exactly. Also, Tara asked about SummerSlam. Is Cardi B going to be there? They're not advertising her anymore. She doesn't care. She's just curious. I have no clue. I don't know what Cardi B is up to.
I have no idea.
Cardi should be gone.
And as Steve says, and with that, we will close things out here.
And guys, I just want to say thanks for having me back.
Of course.
Good to be back.
I'm glad.
I had a Tuesday to spare.
Well, man, anytime you can make it back. I know you're working on some stuff, but we'll have you back. We're waiting on Ryan. We got to pressure Amanda to come back somehow. So, it's good to see you. And we'll, again, any week, you get the link every week in the group chat. Just hop in when you can, get in where you fit in.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, all gas, no brakes. All right, guys. Well, we will close things out tonight with Dave Abbey's favorite song in the background as I tell you that we are here every Tuesday, 9 p.m. We are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, so you can go to Tag Me a Date on Facebook or Tag Me a Date on YouTube, and that's how you'll find us. The Facebook, all you got to do is type in Tag Me a Date. You hit the thumbs up button next to it, which means you're following the page, so it'll show up in your feed. You can also set up alerts for it if you'd like. On YouTube, it's the same thing. Go to the search, type in Tag Me a Date. You'll find our page. Subscribe to the channel, and then hit the bell icon and allow alerts, because when we go live or upload a video, you'll get an alert sent to your tablet or your phone. And you can just tap on that, and it will literally just bring you right into the live stream. And again, it's every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, everybody, for who's in the comments. Dave and Tara and Jasim and David. The world's biggest Trish Stratus fan, David. Follow us on social media at Tag Me a Date, all one word, Tag Me a Date with no spaces. That's Instagram, Twitter /X. Facebook, YouTube, most social media. The only difference is TikTok. Go to TikTok and type in The War Report Podcast. That's also all one word, The War Report Podcast. And you can follow that page as well. On the Instagram and on the TikTok, we put up videos, shorts, to show you what we talked about in the week prior, leading up to our next show, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. So whichever platform you're on, Facebook or YouTube, go ahead right back there, 9 p.m. tomorrow, next week, 9 p.m. next week on Eastern Time, and we'll be there. And last but not least, if you are following on the audio version of the app, or of the podcast rather than the video version, go to your favorite podcast app, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts, and you will subscribe to that by typing in The War Report and Tag Me a Date in your search bar. The icon that we have up in the top corner up there that Kat was just looking at, You'll find that. You hit the subscribe button, and Ryan rips the audio and puts it up on your favorite podcast apps so you can take the audio with you driving or working out or doing the laundry, whatever it is that you do throughout your day where you need to be listening to podcasts. So thanks again so much, everybody who commented and tuned in. Like, subscribe, share it, all that good stuff, and we'll be back next week, next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of the War Report After Dark. Everybody have a great week.